If you're looking to boost your upper body strength, you've come to the right place. Let's explore 6 of the best exercises. Hey, it's Alicia and Brody from Be Mobile Physiotherapy, your go-to experts in strength and fitness for adults 55 plus.
Whether you're new to fitness or just looking for a routine that works for you, these 6 exercises will provide an excellent, well-rounded upper body strength routine.
We'll go through each exercise, show you which muscles they target and how to do them safely and effectively.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're interested in seeing more strength and fitness content for over 55s. Push-ups are a fantastic upper body exercise. And one of the best things about the push-up is there are so many versions, so you can almost always find one that's suitable for your current level. We usually recommend starting with this, the kitchen bench push-up. Using a nice sturdy bit of furniture, something like a kitchen bench obviously works well, or a dining table or other sturdy thing like that. Feet a good step back from the bench, and we're just lowering our chest and pushing up and away. And this is a great starting level for the push-up. If you're ready for a bit more of a challenge, we can switch to this version of the push-up. On your knees with your hands on a bench. Of course, if you don't have a gym bench like this, just use any bit of furniture from around the house. A couch works great. The push-up is so good because it hits so many big upper body muscles at once. The pectoral muscles of your chest, the deltoids, the main shoulder muscles, and the triceps at the back of your arm. So it's great for building upper body strength. Our third version of the push-up is on our knees with our hands on the floor. And now things are really getting harder. For any of these push-up variations, you can play around with your hand position. You might find a more narrow hand position is more comfortable, or you might find a much wider hand position works better for you. There's no real rule here, just pick what's suitable. If you've got some wrist pain, which is a common complaint with push-ups, something like dumbbells can work quite well to alleviate some of that stress on your wrists. Just make sure they're not going to roll away from you, and you can hold the handle like this and then go into your push-up. And that can be really good if you've got some wrist pain. They do make handles for this, which you can buy, but often the dumbbells work great. Okay, now we've come full circle and we're up to the full body push-up. If you can get to this version, you're doing really well. You can see that the push-up is so good for building that upper body strength and making things like getting up from the ground much easier. So pick one of those versions of the push-ups and start working on that strength.
Okay, let's have a look at the bent over row. I have a couple of dumbbells, but I'm also going to show you how to use a couple of bags to do this. So first thing, I've got a nice steady stance. I'm going to hinge forward at my hips, allow my arms to lengthen and relax, and then I'm pulling my elbows up as high as I can and squeezing my shoulder blades together at the top. So this is really working my upper back and shoulder muscles, so my rhomboids, my latissimus dorsi, and my posterior deltoid muscles. Now, if you don't have dumbbells, that's fine. You can use other things that you might have lying around the house. I've got a couple of bags here, and as you can see, I can perform the movement in exactly the same way and get the benefit of the exercise. So this is a great exercise for really being able to pick things up off the ground. So that's the double arm version. Now, some people prefer doing a single arm version, or you can mix it up and do both. So I'm going to get my dumbbell and I'm going to use the chair here. So I'm going to put my hand on the chair, and if I'm doing the exercise in my left hand, I've got my right foot forward and I'm doing exactly the same movement, pulling the elbow up as high as I can, squeezing my shoulder blade, but I'm doing one arm at a time. You don't have to use a chair. Some people find doing the single arm version with just their hand on their front knee is enough support, and that feels comfortable for them. So there you have it, the bent over row, either 2 hands at a time or single arm.
Our third exercise is the overhead press. As the name suggests, you're going to hold a couple of weights starting at shoulder level and press them straight up overhead. This is such a good exercise for building strength in your shoulders, the deltoid muscle, the main muscle of the shoulder, as well as the rotator cuff, and a few others helping out as well. And this is good for building strength for obviously lifting things up overhead, whether it's putting things in an overhead cupboard or just lifting something up. It's really great to have that strength. Now, if you have some shoulder discomfort, you might find the straight overhead press like that is challenging for the shoulders, so you can do a version where you're leaning back in a chair. We call this an incline overhead press. By leaning your torso back, it just allows you to press those weights up overhead without asking quite as much of the shoulder joint. So it can be a great option and a great starting point if you do have some shoulder discomfort. So there you go, that is the overhead press.
Having strong arms is important for all your daily tasks, and biceps curls is a great way to develop strong arms. So I'm using dumbbells. First thing I'm going to do is glue my elbows into my side like that, lengthen my arms, and then I'm going to bring the weight up like that. So nice and controlled movement, especially controlling that lower on the way down. And one thing that I don't want to do is get a lot of rocking my body happening. So I'm really keeping my body nice and still and strict, and the movement is happening with the bending and straightening of my elbows. Now, people often think the biceps is the sole muscle used in this exercise, but there's also the brachioradialis and the brachialis. So a bit of a mouthful there with all the brachies and the biceps, but working your biceps is fantastic for lifting and carrying things, and you really want to have strong arms to do that.
Our fifth exercise is the Y raise. We're going to take a bent over position, and then we're bringing the arms up like this. So we finish in this Y shape. So bending forward, arms relaxed, raise them up into that Y shape. If you can't get all the way up here, that's okay. You just do the range of motion that you can. So you might just be lifting up this high to start with. Now you might be asking, why would we do this exercise? Well, it's great for upper body strength, particularly these muscles of the upper back, the rhomboids, the traps, and the shoulder muscles as well. So bending nice and low, raising those arms up as high as you can. If you're struggling with this one, you might not bend as far, and you can often make it harder by bending down even lower. You might not need any weight to start with, but if you're feeling strong and you're ready for a challenge, try adding a couple of weights in the hands. Bending over nice and low, raising up into that Y shape, nice and controlled on the way down. So that is the Y raise, and it's a pretty tough one.
To round out this routine, let's finish with the plank. So I'm starting on my knees, which is an easier version. I'm getting into the plank position, so nice straight line between my shoulder, hip, and knees, and holding it like this. Now, to add an extra challenge, I'm going to add some reaching and tapping the floor like that whilst trying to maintain my stability. Now, we know that planks is a great exercise for our abdominals, but it's also fantastic for building upper body strength and stability, and is particularly important for things like getting up off the floor. Now, if you're ready to step it up again, we're going to go to a full plank like this and adding some reaching and tapping the ground like that. Now, while I'm tapping the ground, why don't you go and tap that subscribe button? Pick a variation for each exercise that suits where you're at. Start with 2 sets of 10 reps per exercise and do that twice per week.
Oh, and if you want to work on your leg strength, then check out the next video on screen now.